There are names whispered only in the darkest places, names that carry with them the weight of ages and the stench of ancient rebellion. One such name is Azazel, a being so sinister and enigmatic that his legacy has been splintered into myth, scripture, and apocryphal texts. To understand Azazel is to descend into the wastelands of the human heart, to confront the shadowed fringes of creation where sin festers, where the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual blur. In the bleak vastness of these wildernesses, Azazel waits, a presence that haunts both scripture and the minds of men. Azazel's most infamous appearance is found in the book of Leviticus. The Day of Atonement, or Yom Kippur, was the holiest day of the Jewish year. On this day, the high priest performed a ritual of purification, an act designed to cleanse the people of their sins. 2 goats were chosen. One would be sacrificed to Yahweh, a blood offering for the people's sins, while the other was destined for Azazel. And Aaron shall cast lots upon the 2 goats, one lot for the Lord and the other lot for Azazel. Leviticus 16:8. The chosen goat, laden with the collective sins of Israel, was driven into the wilderness, to a realm beyond civilization, a place where men dared not tread, a domain that was not merely a geographic location, but a spiritual abyss. This wilderness, this unholy ground, was Azazel's dominion. What, though, does this name Azazel signify? Many interpretations swirl around this figure. Some scholars suggest that Azazel means the goat god, or the strong one of God, while others argue it means the one who is removed, or the one who is cast out. But one thing is clear. In the text, Azazel is associated with separation from God, exile, and the weight of sin. The wilderness to which the scapegoat was banished was not merely a barren land, but a place of chaos, of unclean spirits, where the divine light did not penetrate. The people of Israel would watch the goat disappear into the desolate horizon, carrying with it the darkness they had accumulated, and they knew it was now under Azazel's watch. Yet, the ritual description in Leviticus is only a fleeting glimpse of Azazel's true nature. Second Temple Jewish literature unearths more profound, more terrifying revelations. Chief among these texts is the Book of Enoch, a piece of writing that unveils the hidden history of angelic rebellion. It is here, in the strange and often unsettling pages of 1st Enoch, that Azazel emerges in his full horror. He is no longer just a spirit lingering in the wilderness, but one of the Watchers, a group of angels who defied the boundaries set by God and descended to earth. These Watchers took human women as wives and fathered a race of giants, the Nephilim, whose violent nature spread across the earth, corrupting all that was good. An intriguing question arises within biblical scholarship and Second Temple Jewish writings. Is Azazel the same as Satan? The answer, however, is not straightforward. While Satan is traditionally viewed as the adversary, the ultimate opponent of God, Azazel seems to be a distinct figure in ancient Jewish lore. Satan, in the Old Testament, is often portrayed as a prosecutor or accuser, as in the book of Job, while Azazel is more closely associated with sin, corruption, and the wilderness. In the book of Enoch, Azazel's role is one of direct corruption of humanity, teaching them warfare and forbidden knowledge, while Satan's role in later Jewish and Christian theology evolves into a figure of temptation and spiritual opposition. In this sense, while both are connected to rebellion against God and the corruption of mankind, they serve different roles in the spiritual hierarchy of evil. The book of Revelation merges many figures into one great enemy, Satan, who will be cast into the lake of fire. But Azazel, particularly in Jewish tradition, remains a more localized figure of malevolence tied specifically to the wilderness and the Day of Atonement ritual. For now, we can only say that it is possible they are the same figure. Among these fallen angels, Azazel's crime was uniquely sinister. While the other Watchers taught mankind arts and crafts, tools and skills, things that, while dangerous, could still be used for good, Azazel taught the ways of destruction. And Azazel taught men to make swords, and knives, and shields, and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets, and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of costly stones, and all coloring tinctures. Verse Enoch 8:1-2. He revealed to men the secrets of warfare, the forging of weapons, and the tools of death. To women, he unveiled the art of seduction, the use of cosmetics and ornaments, which would ensnare the desires of men, turning their hearts away from purity and toward lust. Azazel's gifts were not tools of life. They were tools of corruption, instruments designed to twist humanity into something grotesque and broken, far from the divine image in which they were created. But his rebellion would not go unpunished. According to 1 Enoch, the cries of the righteous ascended to the heavens, and God dispatched the archangel Raphael to imprison Azazel. Bind Azazel hand and foot and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the desert, which is in Dudael, and cast him therein. And place upon him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness. 1 Enoch 10:4-5. In the desert of Dudael, a place as bleak and forsaken as the sins that Azazel embodied, the rebellious watcher was entombed, his hands and feet shackled beneath jagged stones. Here, in the darkness of the earth, Azazel waits, cursed, humiliated, and doomed to face judgment at the end of days, when he will be cast into the eternal fire to share the fate of those he led astray. The Second Temple period writings, such as the Book of Jubilees, continue to expand on Azazel's connection to the wilderness and sin. Jubilees makes it clear that Azazel is associated with demons, with unclean spirits that roam the earth. These spirits, once angels, now roam the wastelands, tormenting humanity, their presence felt in moments of madness, temptation, and despair. Azazel is their prince, their lord, exiled and yet still influential, his presence felt in the cracks of society, in the places where holiness does not reach. The wilderness itself, in Jewish thought, was not a neutral place. It was not simply a barren expanse of sand and rock, but a spiritual battleground, a place of chaos where demons, not angels, held sway. The wilderness was unclean, a place where the spiritual order had been turned upside down. In sending the scapegoat to Azazel, Israel was symbolically sending its sins back to the source of corruption, back to the fallen beings who had introduced sin and rebellion into the world. Azazel's influence extends even into the New Testament and Christian theology. While the name Azazel does not appear explicitly, the themes of wilderness, temptation, and demonic influence echo in the story of Jesus' temptation in the desert. For 40 days and 40 nights, Christ wandered in the wilderness, a place traditionally associated with evil and demonic activity. There, he faced Satan, the ultimate tempter, the one who sought to corrupt even the Son of God. The wilderness, as in the ritual of the scapegoat, remains a place where the forces of darkness dwell, and in overcoming Satan's temptations, Jesus symbolically redeems the wilderness, triumphing where Adam had once fallen. Even in modern interpretations, Azazel has become a symbol of rebellion, a figure that represents the dangers of forbidden knowledge, of power seized unlawfully. His gifts, warfare, seduction, and deception, remain potent symbols of humanity's darkest tendencies, of the ways in which we stray from God's intended path. Azazel is not just a figure from ancient texts. He is the embodiment of the spiritual dangers that still plague the human soul. He lingers in the forgotten corners of the world, in the wild places of the heart, ever waiting for a chance to corrupt, to draw mankind back into the wilderness of sin. Azazel's legacy, then, is one of both temptation and punishment, a being who sought to elevate himself and humanity beyond the bounds of divine order, only to be cast down, bound in chains, and condemned to the darkness. He is a cautionary figure, a reminder of the perils of straying from the path of righteousness, of grasping for forbidden power. And yet, like the wilderness he rules, he remains a place where humanity's sins are cast, where the ugliness of our fallen nature is exposed. As long as sin exists, as long as the wilderness remains, so too does Azazel's shadow, dark, looming, and filled with a terrible, ancient power. But one day, the wilderness will be no more. When God punishes his enemies in the lake that burns with fire,